You are listening to episode 52 of Shack Together. Today we are pleased to have Bill Lavoy tell us all about Monster Hunter Wilds. It is finally here. Bill has the scoop. He's put in dozens of hours, and he tells us all about his time with the game. We then have a special change of pace. Asif brings a little game to replace my typical, usual little game in the middle of the show, so that's a fun one. I get to participate. What a delight. A beefy news section in story time, 2 previews in Monaco 2 and Splitgate 2. We've got reviews for Monster Hunter Wilds, like I said, Omega 6, The Triangle Stars, PGA Tour 2K25, and 2 Point Museum. Then it's on to news, the latest from Pokemon Day, a delay from Fable, and Sonic Rumble. We find out a little bit what Bloober Team is up to. Kendrick Lamar heads to Beat Saber. All the news from the Annapurna Interactive Showcase. Then some industry news. We talk about NVIDIA and their earnings results. And then we wrap up the show with quite a bit on AI and its impact on not only gaming, but the world. And that's everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show. Let's kick it off right now. Here we go.
Real quick, is my audio okay? Or should I'm on AirPods right now, but I'm about to be home in like a minute. So are AirPods okay, or is like speaker better, or what's the best thing? I think I have to figure out a better recording solution.
I don't think it sounds bad right now.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
No.
Okay.
I think AirPods are pretty solid when it comes to the mic.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue.
There's your cold open. Moving on.
Okay. It's Shack Together in America on the internet. If this is your first time joining us, Shack Together is a Shack News video game podcast featuring myself, your host, Asif Khan, co-host John Benjamin.
Hello.
Our producer, Joe Stasio.
Hello.
And managing editor at Shack News and reviewer of multiple games this year already, Bill Lavoy's here from Canada.
Hello.
Thank you for coming down here to the American podcast. You know, I know there's tensions between our nations right now, and we appreciate you making the time to talk about video games with us.
We're trying to build some bridges here.
Yeah, right?
But I think you owe us something like $17. Is that how it goes? Or no, the American consumer will pay $17.
Yeah. Shack News has to pay $17 for Bill to be on this podcast. I think it's to the government. Like, we pay $17 to the United States government because Bill's on the podcast.
That sucks.
Anyway, I know. And forget getting ketchup Doritos anytime soon. That's off.
That's off.
I don't think we have those. Do we have those? No, I don't think we have those.
You have some other brand.
It's the all dressed.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, the all dressed Lay's.
I do have half a bag of spicy all dressed chips.
So I'm going to tell you, because it's a food.
He's in his house right now.
It's a food podcast and a food IP podcast, as we were discussing before. Yeah. So all dressed, I'm seeing that a lot more over the last few months. And I think that's because TikTok Shop is algorithmically serving me chips related videos, like a ton of chips.
Yeah.
And I've actually bought, I know, Joe. Joe, come on.
They also saw you. They
tells you what you want to hear.
Twitter shared the information with TikTok that you bought those Post Malone cookies, so they're like, "Oh, this guy's a sucker for food deals." And now like, TikTok's like all in.
Yeah,
we're gonna serve him 8 in a row.
So, by the way, I'm almost done with the Post Malone Oreos cookies. I can give a good review, but I did buy a bunch of all dressed Lay's, and I'll tell you, they're kind of a hit with half the house. 2 out of 4. That's not bad. Yeah. I like them.
They're great. It might be an acquired taste for the other 2. You don't know.
You don't know, and we'll never know. So
you know what'd be crazy? If they did all dressed like ketchup with Cool Ranch chips.
I mean, I'm down for that. By the way, Sriracha Doritos, number 1. in the house. Like, wait, I got a box. This is how absurd it is. And my wife, she's like, I think you got a box from like a potato chip company. I'm like, yes, I've been waiting for this. It's a gigantic, it's a big box of 6. Dude, this is total like guy mode, or I don't know what it is. But I'm like, yes, my chips have arrived. And I'm so proud. I'm like, I'm opening the box. I'm like, Jill, you're gonna love this. 6 different flavors, all dressed in sriracha and all this stuff. And it's like $21. That comes out to like, I don't know, like $4. I'm doing the math. I'm like $3.50 a bag. I'm like, it's such a great deal compared to $8 at the store or whatever.
That's like 12 eggs.
Yeah, well, right. And I was fully expecting her to be proud of me. I found a deal. I also brought variety to the house, and I did it all on my own. And instead, it was shame. It was like, what is this man talking about? And also, the sriracha chips are very smelly, very pungent. So it's like, it's just 2 strikes. So I'm close to being kicked out of the house.
Well,
wow.
Well, hopefully these tariffs hit so you won't be able to get those chips ever again, and Jill will keep the family
me around.
That's right. Hopefully the tariffs hit. The official Shack Together stance.
Oh yeah, I just can't wait for more tariffs to hit. It's gonna be great, and it'll really help our relations. But anyway, back to Bill. Bill, what have you been playing lately? We should probably talk about Monster Hunter here.
Well, there you go. You spoil it.
I didn't say which one.
That's fair. I have been known to go back and play old games for hundreds of hours. That is absolutely in my DNA. No, I've been playing Monster Hunter Wilds for review, and I have to pause because sometimes I just say world inadvertently when I'm talking about it. But
same acronym, which is challenging.
You can't. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I know that's been a problem.
I referred to it as MHW yesterday too, and I was like, we're just gonna forget about world now. It doesn't.
Yeah, we're just assuming it's Wilds for sure. I've been playing that for what seems like 200 hours. It turns out it's like 50, but it felt like 200. It's Monster Hunter. It's more Monster Hunter. Have you ever heard of the White Zombie song "More Human Than Human"? It's more Monster Hunter than Monster Hunter. It's cranks a lot of, like, if you were to play Monster Hunter World and then you were to jump into Monster Hunter Wilds, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just more of this, but they've beefed some things up for sure. There's a couple of new mechanics that are admittedly game changing. The Sacred, which is, I call it a bird horse. You just ride around. You can kind of snatch up resources. You can do combat from it. You can jump off of it. You can tell it to deliver you to a specific plant halfway across the world and browse TikTok or Instagram or whatever you want while it's taking you there. It requires 0 input. So that's kind of a quality of life change for those that want to run around.
It's interesting because it's an evolution of what they did with Rise, Bill, because they kind of introduced mounts in Rise, but they were still kind of like your horse in Red Dead or in Zelda, right? Like you still had to control it. This is like, when I saw you, like, I think you streamed it to me on Discord or something. When I saw how the it's not fast travel, but like that set and forget navigation worked, I was like, oh man, that is a huge quality of life improvement, even from World.
Yeah, if you set a waypoint and then hop on your bird horse, it just takes you there. You don't have to do anything, and it'll stop when it gets there. So that's really handy. That's obviously like one of the bigger changes that the game has introduced. There's been a lot of little changes. Everybody who's played the old games remembers camps. They have been replaced with pop-up camps. You still have a fixed number of locations, but you can pick and choose which camps you want to deploy and which ones you don't want to deploy. And you can only use so many. And obviously, if you play the game and you do certain things, you can unlock more camps in each region. But they can be destroyed.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, these can be attacked by enemies while you're not there, right?
Or while you're there, yeah.
Oh,
I've built them, and while I was like standing 10 feet away, a monster just walked over and stomped on it and crushed it. So I had to stomp on and crush the monster because I found that to be kind of rude. But it tells you if it's a dangerous location or a safe location when you're putting your camp up. So if you want to avoid that, you can kind of avoid it for the most part.
And what would be the benefit of a dangerous location?
In my opinion, none.
No.
Like, that's one of my first complaints is like, I think the pop-up camps are great until they pop up and then they just pop down because something will walk past and kick it over. And
yeah, like you're in like a region, Bill, and you don't know the path of the monster yet. And you're like, oh, I'll just put a pop-up camp here. And it's like right in the path of this big-ass monster.
Well, it would tell you it's dangerous, but I feel like it's just way overtuned because I have yet to put a camp in a dangerous location that wasn't destroyed like within 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then if you want to fix it immediately, you've got to invest, points. I think they're guild points in doing that. But over time, they will fix it for free. But while it's destroyed, you can't fast travel to it. So it's really no use to you if it's destroyed all the time. So I've kind of just decided to go with putting camps in places I know are safe. But it's Monster Hunter. It's really, really, really good. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I thought the campaign was and it was like super duper long it could have been half the that it was by simply calling an end to the campaign when credits rolled, but the credits roll at about the 50% mark of the campaign, which I think is a little silly. It's just not a story that I was invested in. I thought it dragged on for too long. It had multiple vague objectives of like, hey, please increase your rank kind of thing. To what? I don't know. And why? I don't know. But then you would do this and hit some number and all of a sudden it'd be like, here's another quest. It did that like 4 or 5 times to me. And I was just over it by the end of it.
Bill, we were talking about this game when you were going through the review process because, I've played quite a few of these games. I like the series or whatever. Mm-hmm. When you were like, yeah, this campaign sucks, I'm like, I can't think of a single story beat from any Monster Hunter game ever.
Yeah.
It's just weird that they would invest so much in something that I think a lot of the core fans don't care about, honestly. It's kind of like, there's some people who like Halo for the single player, and then there's other people who just played the multiplayer. Or same with COD, right? It feels like Monster Hunter's that, but just the grind. Like the story for me in Monster Hunter is I'm trying to kill a monster. I need to find the things to put together to kill the monster, right?
Yeah, except that you can't play the actual end game unless you suffer through the story.
And some of those were unskippable cutscenes, right?
Yeah, there was at times. I mean, I'm probably overestimating. I would say like 5-minute cutscenes that were unskippable. Maybe it was 2 or 3, but I can't really give, like, if you were like, I want you to tell me in detail what the story's about, I can't. Anytime the cutscene popped up, I just popped open Instagram. Like, I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the story. I didn't care. I just wanted to get into that wonderful Monster Hunter loop.
Didn't they try to make this franchise a movie and it like completely flopped?
Yes, that is a real thing that happened as well.
Right. Forgot about that.
Yeah, that's my point, John. Like, it's like we're in this era of like, wow, Sonic's doing well, and Mario movie, and Fallout, right? And then some of these Capcom films have landed flat on their face.
I know I surprised Joe when I said I was giving it a 9 because you hear the way I talk about the campaign, but if you play Monster Hunter, you realize that like the second that you're done with the campaign, you're like, oh, the game starts now, and I have 500 hours of amazing Monster Hunter to indulge with. And
it's also visually stunning, Bill. It's like a gorgeous game.
It is a very gorgeous game. It has a ton of settings on PC. I'm very concerned about performance. It's designed that if you meet the recommended specs, it will run at 1080p, 60 frames per second, which I think is not great. I think a lot of people, a lot more than we realize, are playing games in 2K at this point. But I'm more worried about console, because those are not keeping up with the recommended specs for PC at this point. So I'm not sure how it's going to play on console.
Especially, like, this is releasing on the Xbox family of consoles, so that means it has to run on Series S, which... Yeah.
I mean, you could probably get the menu to run on the S. I don't know if you could actually like get I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure that it must be functional, I would think.
I've heard some very negative accounts of the console experience so far. But also the PC experience. So Bill, you might be an anomaly on that one.
He has a very good PC.
I do, and I had to make concessions because I play games at 2560 by 1440. And I had everything cranked because I smashed the recommended settings. And I started playing and it was like 36 frames. And I was like, what? I was like, this has to be busted. Nope, that's actually the way it's designed. And so I had to dial a lot of things back. Just distant shadows and things like that, like some things that don't have a huge effect on performance, but whatever I could kind of like inch back. And I did get it to a point where I was typically playing at 60 frames per second, but if things get busy, it can certainly drop. So we'll see. When it's in the wild, no pun intended, actually, I think we're going to see some pretty crazy stories coming in from folks who are playing on PC and console.
I did see that I think they dropped a patch already, so at least they're going to try to make it run better. They announced
a patch 1 for April.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's going to introduce some of the things that are missing. A new monster, of course, and they're going to give a social hub, I guess, is what they announced. So,
okay, well, that's good. I'm glad you brought that part up. They still haven't fixed the multiplayer experience in this franchise. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
No.
This is insane. Like, how? How is it still the same? It's how long ago was World? Like
2017,
18, maybe.
Yeah, 7 or 8 years, and now like we're still dealing with the same party systems.
So if John and Asif wanted to play Monster Hunter together, and you're like, hey, this campaign, I heard it's a slog, we'll play it together. Everything's more fun with friends. Yeah, you really can't. If you think that you're going to load into a campaign mission together, you're not. The only way to play a campaign mission co-op with someone that you want to play, you can play it with randoms, but you would have to each launch the campaign mission solo in your own instances, separate, play all the cutscenes to the point where the fight begins. And then once the fight begins and you now have free control over what you're doing, you could pop an SOS flare. Now, let's say that John did that, but Asif didn't. Asif still can't join. He has to watch that cutscene and go through all that before he could join John. But even so, someone would have to leave their instance and join their friend. So you'd have to play like a quarter of the mission by yourself and then back out and go join your buddy.
That sounds like a step back. I don't remember it being... I remember
it
being
worked exactly the same in World. I know that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that bad in World. It was that bad.
I remember being in the social hub in World and like queuing together, but
I think that's the thing that's missing.
That's not I don't think that's a campaign mission though, Joe.
That's just a party.
Yeah.
I see.
So you can do like free, like if you have just a random hunt, but the thing that the catch is the cinematics, right? They require every player to watch the cinematics. So you have to go through that hoop to get. That's why it's the campaign specific. Otherwise, like you can certainly join up, but it gets even weirder. Yeah,
this is frustrating, man, because there's games like Gears and Halo that have been doing online co-op for years really well. So it's like, come on, step your game up here.
And again, Destiny's the actual, I think, the GOAT in this department of like
or World
massive
of Warcraft
campaign that you can play at the same time, shared world stuff.
Not only that, but like you see your own avatar, right? Like if I'm playing in a Destiny campaign mission with somebody, like I see my avatar, they see their own avatar, like it works,
Wouldn't it be like Final Fantasy 14 also though? Like isn't that game kind of similar to Destiny?
It could be. I actually haven't.
And I think WoW is also kind of... what I'm saying is that there's games that have been around for a while that do this way better.
It gets even weirder though, because... so Sam and I were both playing in the review period, and we were like, hey, we could do this together because this will make it better, and we can hit monsters harder and theoretically go faster. And we spent an hour minimum trying to figure out how to like get into the same space. You gotta, I can't even remember the terminology. It's like, first you gotta link your, not worlds, you gotta link your, I don't know, online whatever. And then once you've done that and that's linked, but hey, wait a second, now you need to link your physical world. Oh, okay, cool. So now you've linked your physical world and then you end up in the same like world together. The only thing you can do from that is, I guess you could launch like a free hunt, or you could launch like an optional quest or something like that. But like we tried to launch a campaign mission from there and it just booted one of us out, like, and the other person went solo. So It's weird for me to be this critical of this and still give it a 9, but as soon as I got through the campaign, as soon as I understood the multiplayer, like no notes, everything was great.
Yeah, everything else is fun. Like the crafting's fun, cooking's fun, creating a palico and the secrets are cool. Like, yeah, everything they've done, it looks good. The graphics are better. It's the best looking Monster Hunter game ever. But yeah, there's these two things that has been a series issue for over 10 years. I think it's really
still
weird.
Has that awesome loop where, you're like, hey, I want to build this sword. And, I need the ear of this weird thing. And then you open up your book and you're like, oh, okay, so if I hit the head with this and I use this sort of damage, then I can do that. And it gives a lot of agency over chasing the things that you want and a satisfying loop of being able to control whether or not you get them. So that's always been the appeal to me. So, yeah.
Cool. 9 out of 10. I definitely I remember when we were talking about it, it didn't take you long for you to go, yeah, this isn't a 10. It wasn't, that's not saying it's a bad game. That's just, you came
if
to that
it wasn't
conclusion.
better in the actual gameplay loop, the actual hunting of monsters, the combat, the world itself, it would have been like a 7 or a 6, but it's so good that the parts of it that are so good just absolutely overwhelm any shortcomings that it has, which, that's why it landed where it did.
Nice. I assume you haven't really been playing anything else, and we also have to get to our next segment relatively soon.
No, I have not had time to play anything else. That's it for me.
Right. John, you said you had one game you were going to mention.
Just one game.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, thank you. Now, hey, Joe, what do you think the one game is that I'm playing?
Is it topical? I don't think we've talked about it.
I'm just wondering. This is almost a friendship test. So this is putting in a lot of pressure, putting in an inordinate amount of pressure.
I mean, friendship test. You love Yakuza, and that just came out. I don't have any other clues to go on.
There you go. That's it. You got it.
All right, nice.
There you go. So that's what I'm playing. Prior Yakuza. I do like the world. Goro Majima, cool. He's fine. Not as charming as Kasuga. We all knew that. I'm liking it better than I thought, actually. And I was kind of ready to get disappointed. I don't know why. I think, coming out of Infinite Wealth, I'm like, oh, that's such a robust game. And, I quite enjoyed that one.
It's like a serious story compared to this.
Very serious story. This is it's not as serious. Obviously, it's not serious. It's not super comical.
No.
So it's kind of just like a fun little diversion. It definitely feels like a side quest thing so far. But I'm also very comprehensive. So I've probably spent, I want to say 10 to 15 hours on it. I don't know, somewhere in there. And I'm digging it. So I'm digging it. I hope the story kind of develops. I think I'm very early on in the story still, because I'm being comprehensive.
The ship combat, like the pirate ship.
The ship combat's actually not terrible.
Yeah.
It's very simplistic.
Yeah,
but the Coliseum's kind of fun, and then the upgrades because you could upgrade your cannons and the machine gun, and then you could go on deck while you're doing the ship and pull out a rocket launcher and smash ships like that, as Goro
Just
with the
Captain
rocket launcher.
Hook. Yeah.
You know that? Yeah, just grab the rocket launcher. And it's very, very cool. Secondary review, my wife does not find Goro Majima charming at all.
Right.
Yeah, so that's
a
the
scoundrel.
knock.
Yeah,
he's a scoundrel, and
I don't think he's supposed to be liked on the surface, right? He's kind of, I don't know.
He's very much either you like this type of character in anime or media or whatever, or you tolerate or you hate, right? And I'm tolerate to but I hope there's some sort of character arc. The fact that I think there's no adage, but it's never work with animals or kids because they'll always upstage you. They are they cram a lot of animals into this game. They cram a lot of like your main sidekick is a kid.
Is a wisecracking kid, right? Yeah.
Wisecracking kid. He's actually not annoying. Like I find kids to be generally annoying in media. Like I always think they're poorly acted or poorly written and yeah, kind of corny. This kid's fine. The kids here are fun. The animals are super cute. Like you have a menagerie. Like you basically have a little farm in the original island that you develop. So that's fun. Fun little side things. The one thing I'll say that I was like impressed by was you go to karaoke. They have a couple of, it feels like Broadway style numbers. And I will say, not feels like, they are actually crafted like there's a Broadway style number here that is just very fun and very, cool.
You know what they should do?
Cringe, but
last week I was like, they need to make a Crazy Taxi. This week, you know what I want them to do? They should make a new Elite Bait Agents game. Like these,
I'd be down with that.
Like, think about how many music video or mini games they've had in these series, and they're all great. Like,
well, I will say, like, this does feel like how Sega Gaga, which, if you remember that Japanese only release back on, I think that was Sega Saturn and Dreamcast or whatever, but it was like all the Sega IP in one cheeky RPG style thing.
Yeah.
It feels like this is the evolution 15, 20 years later of something that just has like the master system is there in a hut on your island where it's like there's 15 games there. The soundtracks in the jukebox are Sonic and Monkey Ball and all this stuff.
Okay, I love that.
Similar. It's similar to Yakuza, but it's similar to previous entries in the series. But even like just the hints of Crazy Taxi, like they had it in the previous series. So there's nothing like super unique about this yet, but it feels more comprehensive. So the arcade has more games. It has like 6 games, whereas Infinite Wealth maybe had 2 or 3 in one arcade. So it feels like just this really love letter to Sega that maybe that's why I've been liking it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Cool.
I'm digging it. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint as it goes on. So
no, from what TJ said, I don't think it will. But yeah, I think you got a good idea of what you're going to be dealing with there too. So if you like it so far, you're probably going to keep liking it.
So far, so good.
Joe, you're playing Mother 3 still?
I am playing Mother 3 still. And for the sake of brevity here, I will just say it is worth the hype. I'm at the very end. It is fun. It's delightful. It is a museum piece that still manages to have that like addictive gameplay loop, which I, in general find is usually challenging going back to old games. It's like you can see why it was lauded or it's still fun, and it's rarely both. And this one's both. So maybe I'll give some final thoughts next week, but that's it. Yeah. Big fan.
Cool.
But that's me. Yeah. So Asif, what have you been playing?
I have actually played games that aren't on Nintendo Switch. So I want to start with those. Nice. It's Steam Next Fest right now, guys. So there's a lot of cool indie games that have demos available. And Steam actually curates the Next Fest to your tastes in games. So Steam knows that I have God knows how many thousands of hours in Rocket League. It recommended this game called REKT Party to me. REKT, all in caps. And this is basically like, hey, what if we took Rocket League and made it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? So it's like skate parks, and you're like doing tricks, but you're in a car that's very similar to a Rocket League car. The difference here is when you're in the air, you can hold the X button on an Xbox controller to do like a grab trick. And like the grab tricks involve your tires like moving and being in like different locations. So it's like, it's just kind of crazy. If you can imagine like doing an aerial in Rocket League, but now your tires are like spinning on the side or something.
That's cool.
And it's multiplayer. I hadn't had a chance to try the multiplayer, but it's like score attack, high score, the things that you would see in like multiplayer Tony Hawk games. So I like the concept. It was a free demo. I tried it out. REKT
Does
Party.
it feel the same? Does it like, okay. No. So the skills don't translate?
No, like there's no double jump. There's actually no jump at all. You have to drive off of like inclines to get in the air. So that I would say is a huge difference, right, Joe? And like that's the part where I'm iffy on. I'm like, I'm not sure if the controls are tight enough, but other than that, I had fun. And then, I talk about Retro Bowl on and off on this show a lot. The studio that made that, they've made a tennis game, and they're calling it Retro Slam, and it's awesome. I've been playing it for about 3 days now. It's good for one-handed gameplay. You're not playing a whole tennis match. It like highlights these key moments. So it's like, oh, you're about to be broken. Here, we're gonna have you play. And these are the guys who they figured out how to make like a Tecmo Bowl style game fun on the iPhone. They figured out how to make like an NES tennis style game fun on the iPhone here. So I would recommend it. It's free. It does have a time gate that there's microtransactions, but you can get around them by watching ads and doing other things. But I don't like that aspect of it because Retro Bowl was free. Or no, sorry, it wasn't free. It was $5 and you just could play it forever. Yeah. I like that model more for mobile games than this, but a new tennis game out on mobile, iOS or Android, Retro Slam, check it out. This was the game I was talking about last week that I couldn't talk about. I played Omega 6, the Triangle Stars. That's in our reviews section, so I'm just going to talk about it there. But yeah, we'll get to that. I played Tears of the Kingdom, and I know I mentioned I thought Breath of the Wild is worse or whatever. Something happened right when I started playing it this weekend that I was like, yeah, this is why I like this game more. And I'm sure this actually would happen in Breath of the Wild 2 if the location was still the same. Joe, you remember that swampy area towards the end of the game that you had to go to?
I do remember a swamp, yeah.
There's a lot of rain, right? And lightning.
Yes, and a glyph on the ground in that area, too.
Yes.
I think.
So I spawn there and I climb up something and I'm just being a little bit of a ninja. So I see these two enemies. One dude's on it's one of those lizard dudes. They're on this bridge and I headshot him or whatever. I shoot him with a dazzle arrow and then I headshot him. So he drops his weapon on the ground and it's metal. Which that's important when you're in a thunder area, right?
Yep.
So I'm just standing there and lightning starts hitting this location every 5 seconds. It was just really funny. I was just wow, that's cool. That's all these different systems interacting with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was funny. It must have been this it's the highest point in that area because it's kind of there's a little bit of a valley in there. So it's the highest point with a metal thing. And it's just bam, bam, bam.
That's cool.
So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I love that game. I still maintain it's maybe the best game ever made. And then, yeah, I played F-Zero 99. I know, shocking. I had my best placement in the Ace League, you guys. I placed 6th overall. So I was pretty proud of that. But
congrats.
Yeah. I won't get to my rivals this week. We'll deal with that next week. But I definitely ran into some funny ones, so I'm going to make a list for next week. That's all I've been playing. I have a game. I made the game.
Oh, my God.
I'm the captain now. Yeah, so what do you guys say? You guys want to play my game?
I very much do. Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm intrigued. I'm down.
So we'll be right back with a game made by me.
Wow.
I know.
Right after this.
Welcome to Monster Hunter or Make Believe. So I've put together questions for each of you. This is going to be I don't know. We'll start with Bill. He's our guest. So we'll go Bill, John, Joe. So you guys aren't going to have the same question. You're not going to be able to steal. Okay. Each of you are going to have your own question and we'll go from there. So I'm going to give you 2 names of a game in the Monster Hunter series. One of them is real. One of them I pulled out of my ass.
Sweet.
You guys understand?
Yes.
Yeah. Someone who just reviewed Monster Hunter, I'm going to be bad at that.
I have a feeling everyone's going to be bad at this, but it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We're all going to learn about the history of the Monster Hunter franchise, because man, have there been a lot of games. And just to clarify for everyone, this does include Japanese releases, because they have really funny names, and I love the names of these games.
All right.
So it's any system, anywhere, across the history of this franchise, which has really been since 2004 to now. So it's 21 years. I think they celebrated their 20th anniversary last year. So,
Sweet.
Bill, are you guys ready? You understand you don't have to ring in. You just tell me which one you think is real. Okay? Yep. Tell me which one you think is real, and then you just have one shot. This is not, we're not going to allow people to steal or anything. Okay,
cool.
Are you ready? You guys ready? Everyone
I'm
good?
ready.
Ready.
No latency issues, John? None?
I'm here. I'm ready. I'm
just telling you, like, latency's not even going to play into this.
That's great. I love it.
Not even a factor in this.
Already. Unbelievable.
He thought of everything.
Okay, Bill, you ready?
I'm good. Let's go.
Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter Freedom or Monster Hunter Liberty?
Liberty is the real one.
Monster Hunter Freedom was what we were looking for.
Wow.
Sorry, Bill.
Do you need me to keep track of this?
Monster Hunter titles?
Apparently.
Yeah, dude.
That's wild. Wow.
There's a lot, man.
No
okay,
pun
John,
intended.
you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Monster Hunter or Make Believe? MonsterHunter.net or Monster Hunter Online?
Very good. You would think it's online. I'm going to say .net.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Oh, no.
It was Monster Hunter Online.
.net?
I don't know.
BattleNet, it also,
Wow.
I was hearkening back to like the old days for John, so I could, yeah.
I just thought
.net is a Microsoft IP.
It's also
but
Battle.net.
it's also a domain extension. Yeah.
You're setting me up to get yelled at on the internet because I didn't even know MonsterHunter.net existed, so how could my review be real?
It didn't exist. I made it up. Monster Hunter Online.
That's even worse. I screwed it up twice.
Now you're really, oh man.
Yeah, now I'm done.
Online commenters are going to tear you a new one.
Here come the trolls.
Okay, Joe, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter X or Monster Hunter XX?
I think XX is real.
Do you think XX is that your final answer?
Yeah.
You are correct, sir.
I could have gotten that one.
Is that a PSP game?
It was a 3DS game that was re-released on Switch.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you guess the system, but you guess it wrong, is that like half the point
do
down?
I lose my point?
No,
Yeah.
Did you lose it?
I actually wrote, I took detailed notes of each correct answer's release year and platform. But no, it's just for edifying our listeners and viewers. Bill, are you ready for your second one?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter G or Monster Hunter H?
Not Monster Hunter G Fuel, huh? Monster Hunter G or Monster Hunter H? I'm going to say H is real.
No,
I'm wrong.
Monster Hunter G was with the original release of Monster Hunter in Japan on the PS2 was called.
I was going to say.
Oh.
Which is weird
Yeah.
that the original
John
release
that
of the game wasn't even just Monster Hunter. It was Monster Hunter G.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, John, you're ready, right?
I'm ready.
Okay. Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter 5 or Monster Hunter with Everyone? Card Master.
Wait. That's the full title? Monster Hunter with Everyone? Cardmaster?
That's what I just said.
I'm going to say that.
You are correct.
Yeah, I was
That's awesome.
like, there's no way he made that up.
That is a lovely title, actually. I'm super
good.
impressed.
I thought it was kind of tricky though, because like Monster Hunter 5 like seems like,
Well,
that would
5
be a thing.
seems like, but yeah.
Yeah, there's no Monster Hunter 5. Good job,
right.
John. You got it. That was a
Thanks.
20. So what you're going to find is I'm pulling a lot of these random mobile games up. This was a 2012 release on mobile. I'm guessing it was a computerized card game.
Sounds like it.
Okay, Joe, this is your turn, right?
Yep.
Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter Spirit Stories or Monster Hunter Now?
I'm inclined to say the first one. I think it's just Monster Hunter Stories without the word spirit. And so Monster Hunter Now is my final answer.
Good reasoning.
Yeah.
Wow. Well done. You got it. Joe's doing
Nice.
pretty well here.
That's 2 for him.
Yeah. Okay. Bill, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate or Monster Hunter 2 Ultimate? Monster Hunter or Make Believe, Bill?
I'm going to say Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is the real one.
Wow. Good one.
That's a coin toss.
I thought that was kind of a dick move on my part there, but yeah, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate was the 3DS release in 2014.
My strategy is pick one of the 2 options.
That's a good one.
That's your strategy on this podcast in general.
It really is. This podcast has exposed the fact that before
that one
getting
time
into
when he
games,
just-
I didn't play games.
He just kept going Xbox with that one platform game that we had.
That's right.
Yeah, but I think I eventually got one right.
You
You
did.
did.
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
I did okay in the Fallout game too.
Sorry, we're on John now, right? Yeah.
Yes.
John, Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter Dynamic Hunting or Monster Hunter Stories 3 Winds of Ruin?
I mean, you think automatically it's that first one, but that title that's conjured up by committee, and I'm going to go with that one. That is the real one. That's not even. Don't even say. We already know it. That's
Which
the
one?
Answer. The second answer. The
Monster
second,
Hunter Stories 3 Winds of Ruin?
You could, you could offer me thousands of dollars. I will not be able to repeat that, but that's my answer. The second one.
Okay. You're wrong. I'm sorry. Dude.
Oh,
I completely
There is
screwed you
no
over.
Monster Hunter Stories 3.
There is no Monster Hunter Stories 3. It's Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin.
Oh, look, seriously, hold on. The audio here. I have a real issue with audio.
And Monster Hunter Dynamic Hunting, super weird game. It was like a fighting game on mobile released in 2011. Anyway,
Wow.
Dang it.
your gut was right, John. It was Dynamic Hunting.
All right. Well, close.
Oh, this is fun, at least for the host. I don't know about maybe the folks at home are enjoying it. Joe, you ready?
Uh-huh.
Monster Hunter or Make Believe, Joe? Monster Hunter Unite or Monster Hunter I?
Tricky. Monster Hunter Unite. What could that be? Monster Hunter Unite. Now, Pokemon Unite is a game, and so I don't think Monster Hunter would try and piggyback on that same subtitle. So I'm going to say Unite is fake, and whatever the other one is, I? Let's go with
Yes.
that. I is real.
You are correct, sir. It was the first mobile game they ever made in the franchise. It was before iPhone. So it's like, it was released on cell phones. Like, God knows what that game was.
Nice.
2006 release. Okay, we're back to Bill. Bill, you ready?
I'm ready.
It's Monster Hunter or Make Believe time, Bill.
Okay.
Monster Hunter Freedom 2 or Monster Hunter Diary 2.
Oh, jeez. It's always the same. Yeah. It's another coin toss for me. So, Freedom? Final answer?
Okay, so your answer is Monster Hunter Freedom 2?
Yes.
You are correct, Bill.
Nice job, Bill.
50-50, which is exactly my strategy.
So that was a 2007 release on the PlayStation Portable. I just want to point out, like, Monster Hunter Freedom was what they called Monster Hunter G when it released in America.
Yeah, obviously.
It's like, I just love, that's like, someone in Japan was like, I don't know, call it Freedom. It's
Just funny 'cause
American.
I think I got burned on my first question was not Freedom. I think.
Yeah, you
wasn't
went
it?
Liberty
Yeah.
instead of Freedom. Yeah,
I went
exactly.
Liberty the first time and I went Freedom the second time. All right.
There you go. Okay, John, we're on to you here. Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter Portable 3rd or Monster Hunter Generations 2?
Monster Hunter Portable 3rd.
You
is
are
my
correct. Yeah,
Yes.
you are correct.
Right.
That was a 2010 release, also on the PSP.
Wow.
Joe,
Yeah.
are you ready?
Yep.
Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter Land or Monster Hunter Mobile?
Ooh.
This is the first question where I have no instinct, except to say Monster Hunter Land is the most boring title I've ever heard. Perhaps that is a Japanese translation issue, and it sounds quite exciting to that native tongue. But I'm going to say that sounds fake, and the non-land one is real, whatever that is.
Monster Hunter Mobile is your answer.
I'm going to say mobile is real.
Wow. Well done, Joe. You are correct. That was a
Joe.
2009 release on Android.
Wow.
They've released a lot of games on mobile, you guys. Okay, Bill.
I'm ready.
Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter Rivals or Monster Hunter Rise?
Oh, Rise.
Nah.
It's like the last game.
I know. We actually talked about it earlier today.
I appreciate that you realize that I'm at T-ball level quiz here.
I wanted to give you guys some easy ones.
Yeah.
Not too many. Okay, John,
you're not doing poorly, by the way.
No, you guys are all doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, John, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Monster Hunter or Make Believe? Monster Hunter Generations or Monster Hunter Revelations?
Ooh, that's good. Very good.
Wow.
It should be Generations, but it really could be Revelations. I'm going to say Generations.
Good answer.
Yeah, that felt right.
Okay. Yeah, you were
Wait,
correct.
which one was right?
Generations.
I was going to say Revelations is another Capcom title. That would be insane.
I tried to trip you up earlier with Generations 2, John, and you didn't get tripped up by that, but you did get Generations right.
Yeah, I did it.
Okay. This one's kind of dumb, and Joe, I think you might have already won, but here you go, Joe. You want the last one?
Sure.
Monster Hunter Make
Pass
Believe.
it on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You could pass it to John or Bill if you really want to, and then you could create a tie. Monster Hunter Worlds or Monster Hunter Wilds?
Wow. Wait, so did you just say Worlds and Wilds both plural?
I did.
Okay. It's definitely not Worlds, and I'm surprised that I'm not certain on the Wilds, but I'm going to go Wilds is real.
You're right. Okay, well, this is a surprise. Joe won.
Why is that a surprise?
Because you rarely play these games. Like, you rarely,
yeah, but
you're usually the host.
I sop up trivia about this stuff, though. All games. I like to soak it up.
So this is just for like the participation trophy award. This is a ring in with your name answer. This was gonna be the tiebreaker. So Joe, you don't have to ring it if you don't want to. You already won. But yeah, what year did Monster Hunter 2 release in Japan?
Good Lord. 2006.
Wow. You got it.
Well, you said
Nice.
the series has been out since 2004, so I added 2 years and went for it.
The funny part is Monster Hunter 2 was the 6th Monster Hunter game.
Okay, I thought it was like the next one. That's why I gave it 2 years. I would have put it like 12 years in the future.
5 games before it.
So I got that right?
Yeah, you
Every
did.
4 months they had a release.
Nice.
So that was it. That was Monster Hunter or Make Believe. Joe has won. Congratulations, Joe.
GG's.
Wow,
GG's,
thank you so
Joe.
much. Thanks.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Everybody. Yeah.
That was really good. I really liked that, yeah.
I did
Well
some solid
done.
research there.
You
That's
didn't have
unbelievable.
any answers from us that were in dispute. Well done.
Yeah, no, there was not a court case about any of our answers.
No
Well,
petitions will be
how did
filed.
you feel? How did you feel making it? Did you feel challenged? Was it time consuming? Were you describe the labor?
It was something I did 2 nights ago while I was watching a YouTube video. It's funny. The idea for this came up like 3 weeks ago because I was talking about Monster Hunter Wilds coming out with my brother, and he asked this question. He's like, "How many Monster Hunter games have there been?" And I was like, "I don't really know." And I went into the Wikipedia, and I'm like, "My God, there've been like over 20 of these games, or like a ton." And it like came to me. I was like, "I could do this. I could make a game out of this." But usually when I think of that, I just tell Joe, like, "Here's my idea for the game. You should do it." But because of the amount of research I did just to even realize that it was worth making a game out of, I was like, I know too much about this now. Like, I can't participate in the game. That was the genesis of this game.
Nice.
But I love that there's a game called Monster Hunter with Everyone Card Master. Like, what?
That was the only one when you said that I was 100% certain was the real one. I was like, that's ridiculous.
There's no way
it
I
has
made
to
that
be.
up.
Yeah.
But I thought like I might be able to trick someone with the Monster Hunter 5 thing. But yeah, it was a really close game. Joe had 5 right. Bill, you had 3. John, you had 3.
Okay.
There were 15
didn't I have
total
4?
questions.
I got a tiebreaker there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
I'm still in that tie. That's the best answer I've ever given for anything on this podcast.
Yeah,
I
he
have to
did
keep
nail
that.
it. Yeah. No, okay. Fine. So yeah, you got an extra point there. So yeah, I guess technically John's in 3rd, Bill's in 2nd. Joe, you won.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
honored.
I'm going to have to study up next time.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like for what though? Like
See,
I
now,
know,
now
I
you
know.
make the next game, John, and then you can turn everyone around.
I'll do
you know,
it.
and also, you know, in lieu of Monster Hunter, but you know, it's also another Monster anniversary day today. Today is Pokemon Day, so shout out to all the Pocket Monsters out there too.
This idea is
Wow.
free, but I bet you John would come up with a great Yakuza game.
Oh,
Oh
thanks,
God.
man. I don't know if I'm that good. I think I have only a few games, but I will do the research.
I can definitely make up Yakuza subtitles.
Yeah, right.
Like a dragon.
I think
Garbage
characters would be interesting. Anyway, okay. Well, maybe this is the genesis of another game.
Oh yeah, you could do a Yakuza character or make believe. Yeah. You can do that.
Right.
I think this format can be used. This is a good format for other stuff.
That might get problematic pretty quickly, but
is there a license fee? Oh no! Stop! What
for my spreadsheet?
Is there? Yeah, there's a license fee for blah blah
50 cents
or make believe.
Yep, 50 cents.
Okay, well, nice.
Well, anyway, I don't know. What do you usually do at the end of these games? How do we?
I say thanks for playing. So in this case, thanks, Asif, for putting that together. That was awesome.
It's usually we're gonna do it yelling at Joe. Is that
that's
fair
right?
To say
that's true.
Yeah, so.
I did not give Asif the full game master treatment of razzing him.
Right. I mean, what was there to razz me about? It went over pretty smoothly. I didn't. There wasn't any debate.
That's true. Well done. Well,
I could have tightened up the level, the graphics on level 3.
Yes, I always get annoyed at the graphics on level 3. So next time you can fix that. So we're gonna wrap it up, and we're gonna take a quick break, and I think we'll say goodbye to Bill too. We'll do that now. Yeah. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you for having me. I got to talk Monster Hunter for like an hour, so that's pretty cool. I appreciate it as always.
Yeah. And keep it locked on Shack News. We're going to have a ton of guides and videos and all sorts of stuff coming out over the next few weeks for Monster Hunter Wilds. Awesome. We'll be right back with story time, so stay tuned. Welcome to Storytime. Let's dive into the latest stories from the past week. We're going to start with Previewza, which is a preview palooza from your friends at Shacknewza. I only have a couple of previews this week. I think Josh Broadwell, he did a preview of Monaco 2, which is another Steam Next Fest game that has a demo right now.
Nice.
He described it as a murder-free hitman in the best way possible. So it's a game that, like, it definitely rewards, like, sneakiness and being a spy, but it's, like, a little less violent and more just about getting away with stuff, which I think is pretty neat. And it's also, like, I wouldn't say isometric, but it's, like, it's kind of isometric, third-person perspective of the game. Art style looks pretty cool, too.
This was the first game was a Wii U, like, an indie. It was one of those games that, like, we all maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like we all had it because, we were all like starving for content on the Wii U. I remember playing that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So they're back. I think this is the same developer, Pocket Watch. There's no release date yet. So that's the cool thing about Next Fest is like you really do get to try out games that are still kind of early in development. Awesome. I think it's one to keep our eye on. And then Donovan got to try out Splitgate 2's new modes. So he tried out Hot Zone, which is kind of like territories in Halo. It's 3 rounds. The first to win 2 rounds wins. They also brought rounds over to Team Deathmatch. So it's a best of 5 format instead of just a team deathmatch. I think it used to be just first to 50 and that was it. Now it's first to 20 and at most 5 times. But first team to win 3 death matches to 20 team kills wins. So I don't know why they did that. I kind of like one-off death matches, but I guess probably in the interest of making the game feel faster because 50 is a lot, but this is a very fast-paced game. He also got to try out Firecracker mode. He said it's similar to Call of Duty's Search and Destroy. You have to defuse or plant a firecracker. It's also I think that's like a Counter-Strike mode too. Bomb planted, whatever.
Yeah, it's like the finals is kind of hinges on that.
Yeah, all these games are kind of based off of TF2, if we're being honest.
Right.
And this one's kind of taken a lot of its DNA out of Halo, though. The gunplay is very Halo. The traversal is probably the coolest thing about Splitgate 2. And they do have a mode called Multi-Team Portal Warfare. He's describing it like this is the developer's take on big team battle. So it sees 3 teams of 8 doing battle on a much larger map than anything in the previous game or in this current game. So it's like, I don't know, if you can imagine like Blood Gulch in Halo 2, but with 3 teams of 8, it could get pretty wild. And yeah, I don't know. I liked the first Splitgate. I'm optimistic about this one, but I also remember how the community was and how things really took a turn. So I'm cautiously optimistic about Splitgate 2. But everything Donovan had to say looks pretty neat. And I think they just announced an open alpha, so keep your eye out. You might be able to try it out yourself.
Cool.
But that'll do for Previewsa. On to Reviewsa, which is a Reviews Palooza brought to you by Shacknewsa. We already talked about Monster Hunter quite a bit. I did see one of Bill's headers in the review, because like if you read Bill's review, it like starts out and you're like, uh-oh, because he talks about like the cutscenes and not liking the campaign, and I'm like, oh no, does Bill not like this game? And then about halfway through it, you see this header that just says "hook it to my veins," and I was like, oh, okay. So he's still, it's like, I think it speaks to the quality of a good gameplay loop if it can overcome such negatives that Bill laid out in his review. And now here I get to talk about Omega 6, the Triangle Stars. So this is a game made by one of the art director for F-Zero X, Star Fox 64, and Majora's Mask. I'd say those are some very, very stylistic games. Sure. Especially Star Fox, I think, is the game that it takes the most inspiration from. So it's like it borders on visual novel. It's kind of based off of a manga that he made, so it's like literally a comic book. So I would say that the thing that you notice is there's a lot of characters in it and a lot of details to the characters. Yeah, Lucas in his review said, we told you we gave Monster Hunter a 9. Lucas in his review of Omega 6 said, if Star Fox was a universe the size of Star Wars, Omega 6 feels like a spin-off all about the weird freako aliens that would show up in the background characters as the background characters in Cantina scenes. That pretty much nails it. It's like a parade of weird, cool-looking aliens, and you have interesting conversations with them. But a lot of this game is like, click, 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 and then you get to the combat. And what Lucas says here is hilarious. The combat kind of makes me want to jump out of a moving R-Wing, though. It's god-awful. It's bad, huh? It's so bad, guys. Like,
why?
It's one thing to be like, oh, it's rock, paper, scissors style. No, it's literally rock, paper, scissors. Like, it's like, I just posted it in our Discord channel. That's what it is. And like, you don't know what's in the inventory of your enemy. So it's like, you're just kind of guessing. There's like, so it's turn-based rock, paper, scissors with RNG.
Yeah, that sounds super rough.
It's so bad. Like, really, really unfortunate. Because the rest of the game's charming. I really do like it. But yeah, it's not fun. That is not a fun way to play. There's definitely some interesting, like, undertones to the story. That was where I kind of jumped off of the game. But it must have some nice writing, though. Because Lucas gave it a 7 despite the combat issues. Because it is like, the music is outstanding in it, as is the art, but man, like, it's just unfortunate. Because I was having like a good time until I got to like the first fight, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a fan of that kind of combat mechanic.
When you said rock, paper, scissors, I think the other day we were talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I was thinking of like the way Fire Emblem works.
Sure.
which is basically predicated on rock, paper, scissors. Mm-hmm. The difference in Fire Emblem is that you know what your opponent has.
Exactly.
It's a pretty critical.
That's the part. There. That's the part where I'm like, okay, I wouldn't have had as much of a problem if it wasn't just like so much RNG, you know? But yeah. Anyway, on to the next one. Nick Tan reviewed PGA Tour 2K25 for us. Got an 8 out of 10. This is like, it's like, I don't know what it is with 2K, but like every so often they release a game where in a franchise, be it NBA or WWE or golf, where you're like, wow, this is a really good one. And I felt that way about like PGA Tour 2K23. And it just feels like after that, they just iterate. And we're at that phase for this game franchise right now where they actually made a good game and now they're just iterating on it. But it's not like 20 years down the road like NBA is right now. It's like only 3. But yeah, it's fine. nothing that I read made me go, oh, I have to buy this one, because I can still play 2K23. You know what I mean? Like, it still works.
Yeah.
I'm not one to really care about playing online in sports games either. So yeah, got an 8 out of 10. He's still, my career still has underdeveloped features. That's been a problem for years. No ranked play for 3-click swing. That's kind of weird. And he says the equipment gamification feels shoehorned in. It probably is, and it's probably trying to act like NBA 2K, which is never really great. So yeah, it got a 8. Which I think, that's fine. Oh yeah, and then
Good,
TJ reviewed 2 Point Museum. I believe TJ's actually streaming 2 Point Museum as we're recording this right now.
Nice.
So you'll be able to go to the Shack News VODs channel if you want to check out some gameplay of it. Yeah, I believe it got a 9 out of 10. Yeah. So his highlights are like the museum theme itself is really fun. It creates interesting characters, right? Like you have thieves you have to deal with. Obviously, to deal with thieves, you're going to have security guards. So there's like kind of like a night at the museum vibe to some of this stuff. All these games are pretty funny.
Like this one I've been looking forward to, actually.
Yeah, I have too, man. Because 2 Point Hospital didn't really land with me as much. It felt
why do you think? Why was that? What do you think? Because me too.
It was like busy. It just felt like too many things could go wrong at once, and it was all very dense. Like this seems more spread out and like less chaotic. It felt like the hospital was almost too chaotic for me.
Claustrophobic, and also maybe the setting is kind of like
it's not right for
very fun to be like. I don't know if that has something to do with it too. Like,
yeah.
Do you want to be in a hospital, really? Like,
no.
Yeah.
No.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, like I think you're right.
Right.
I think that's part of it. It's like the setting was not really conducive to a lot of what that game's good at, or the franchise is good at, which is like humor and silliness and funny emergent gameplay things happening. And it's like, oh, I screwed up and this guy died. That's like that's not that funny.
Yeah, right. They're like, angel or ghosts or whatever.
Yeah, they show up as ghosts and like I don't think life and death needs to be in this franchise at all. So yeah, I'd say that the two things, I think you're right. It was very cramped and like densely packed together world. This feels way more wide open. And yeah, like I think they got a little bit more of their humor back. And nice. Yeah, it's about making your museum 5 stars. So it has, the elements of the other games, but also like kind of that progression. The cons are that free building still, it has a lot of collision issues. Waiting on expeditions slows progress down noticeably, and you can't build curved walls. That sounds like a Joe complaining about Animal Crossing New Horizons complaint. But hey, it's fair. You can only make I think you can make like hexagonal shaped areas and octagons maybe, but yeah, you can't do a nice curved wall like Apple headquarters. But yeah, it looks good. And I think if you bought it in early access, you get like 3 days early on it. It comes out next week for everybody.
Yeah, I see pre-release reviews on Steam. So you can review it, you could play it, but it's not out yet.
Yeah, it comes out on March 4th, but if you pre-ordered it, I believe you can have it now.
Cool.
Which is cool.
Oh, cool. Nice.
I don't know I don't know if it's on Game Pass or anything. It might be, right?
I thought I saw it, but I could be wrong.
It's like, who knows, right? Sometimes these games don't launch on Game Pass, but then Microsoft shows up with a check.
It says it will not be.
Oh.
Yeah, it's only for sale. Good. I'll be honest with you. I want devs to make money, and the easiest way to do that is usually by selling your game. And this is still a franchise that doesn't need to latch itself to live service yet.
No, I just remember I thought that Hospital was there not day one, but maybe eventually this will be there. But I would definitely pick this up day one.
Yeah,
or pre-order. I mean,
you could pre-order it and play it early if you want.
Great.
But yeah, that's Reviewza. Got a couple of 9s in there. Got an 8. Got a 7. I don't know. I think Lucas might have been. I don't know. Lucas played through the whole thing, so I will say that it has going back to Omega 6, it has this Maniac Mansion kind of vibe where you do have to do LucasArts style puzzle solving, where it's go find the key, or this person won't talk to you unless you do this thing. And
I do
so it's
that. That's fun.
Huh? Yeah, I like that stuff. That. Yeah, so it's not all bad. And my hope is that maybe that fighting combat mechanic just isn't really that important in the game. Because, woof. But yeah, on to news. It's Pokemon Day, you guys.
Yeah, happy Pokemon Day.
Yeah. I saw a Go Nintendo story that I want to talk about before we get into the Shack News articles. I love what Kevin does over there at Go Nintendo.
I was just talking to him, actually. Like, it's been a while since I literally texted him yesterday just to be like, what's up, man? Like, he's one of the hardest working people in gaming media, I think.
Yeah, so he noticed there was an interview, I think it was BBC, had an interview with the CEO of the Pokemon company. And this was just, I thought, a cute story. Yeah, it was a BBC interview. He said, the headline is, Pokemon CEO says, even though we can't see them, Ash and Pikachu are still adventuring together. And the actual quote is, even though the TV camera may not be following them, Ash's journey is continuing, and his partner Pikachu is right next to him. I was like, oh, that's adorable.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, that's a sweet sentiment. I think.
Did we expected like a Pokemon movie, another one by now, or another Detective Pikachu movie? I thought that did well, but is it just it didn't do well enough? Am I misremembering it?
Detective Pikachu did do well enough at the box office to justify another one.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the animated, obviously, they have their releases here and there.
I think they've moved on to a new like era in their shows and their movies, I believe. I think the new movies are Pokemon Horizons. So that's like the new anime show. But I mean, Ash's story came to a completion at the, he won. And there, yeah, but I guess we are kind of in between like big Pokemon films. I'm trying to find out was there a Detective Pikachu 2 announced?
That does sound familiar.
There's a game.
Right.
So there is a Detective Pikachu 2 in development, but as of September of last year, we have heard nothing about it, like since they announced it. So that is weird, John. You're right. And this would have been the perfect day to drop a trailer for that.
Something.
Which they didn't. So it's probably still not being talked about, or something's going on behind the scenes. They did announce, I don't know, do you guys remember Pokemon Concierge? It was like a 4-episode Netflix series.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was like CG, right?
It's like, I think it's CG, but it also looks stop motion-y.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Unique art style. So they made those 4 episodes from season 1. I know it's only 4 episodes, but still. Those are all available for free to watch on their YouTube channel from now to March 9th. So if you missed out on them and you don't have Netflix, you can watch them there. And then the good news for fans of Concierge, which I am one, we're getting 4 more episodes probably in September on Netflix. Cool. That was like the content news that they really dropped today from the video side.
Oh, interesting.
And then we got a pretty good look at Pokemon Legends Z Alpha. I don't know, is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, I guess so.
But so I'd say the big news here is Mega Evolutions, and they're kind of creating cooldowns for attacks that are similar to what you would see in like a Final Fantasy style game, Joe. So I think that's kind of interesting that they're evolving the battle mechanics of the Pokemon franchise. So yeah, your starter Pokemon are going to be Chikorita, Tepig, or Totodile. That was the other big news on the Pokemon Z Alpha front. And yeah, they confirmed it's coming out in late 2025. So that game, that's one of those games where it's like, at the end of the trailer, I was like, why don't you just tell us it's coming to Switch 2 already? Because like, it's gonna be, right? Like,
yeah.
You're releasing a game in late 2025 on Nintendo platforms. Just tell us it's like, I'm sure somewhere at Nintendo, no one's allowed to say anything about Switch 2 until after April 2nd, right? Anyway, we also got a new game announced. Pokemon Champions. This is like it's a battle game, like that syncs with your Pokemon Home. It kind of feels like we're getting what was that? The Pokemon Stadium, right? It's like kind of like that.
I can't tell what this is. Is it like an auto battler?
I don't know. This is a very vague announcement trailer, which is like Pokemon's go-to move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they said it's coming to the Nintendo Switch family of systems. So maybe that's the one where they're kind of hinting that this is going to be on Switch 2. But it's also going to be a mobile game, from my understanding. So, yeah, we didn't see a whole lot of gameplay there. It was one of those kind of nebulous announcement trailers. Speaking of nebulous announcement trailers, Fable, delayed. I swear I predicted this at some point, Joe. I don't know. We'd have to go back on the... Like, Fable's delayed.
I don't have the notes handy, but that does sound familiar. I think you might be right.
Because I don't know. It was either the last Fable trailer we got or 2 Fable trailers ago. But I'm like, what is this game? Every time they show it to us, it looks different. And I'm not mad about it. But I'm just like, tell me what this game really is. And maybe they'll find out in 2026. But yeah, it got delayed.
What did you think about the footage?
I didn't even look at it.
Oh. I had friends text me like, yo, did you see Fable? And like semi non-game obsessed friends too, that like kind of grew up with 360 and be like, oh man, I cannot wait for Fable. Yeah, take another year. It looks expensive, like that's the first word that comes to mind. It looks like they are spending money on Fable to me.
Yeah, okay, I'm looking
which I guess is what you want.
I just checked it out. I was obviously fast forwarding through it. It says like the giant guy. I think we had a similar look at that setting in another trailer. But yeah, it looks, once again, dude, is there any gameplay in the video that they showed today or yesterday?
Oh yeah, loads.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, quite a bit.
Okay.
It looks like The Witcher, honestly. Yeah.
How are you feeling about it, Joe? Like, are you excited or just your friends?
I don't know. It's like, I don't know what to make of this because Fable hinges on do the jokes land, in my opinion. And it's almost like Mother 3. It's like Mother 3 is working because it's trying to be funny, and it's trying to amuse me, and like they're on their game with it. And similarly, I think especially the first Fable, and I didn't love the 2 and 3, but like they just nailed the atmosphere, the sort of that like Cockney medieval thing so well, and it was kind of a joy to be there. And how can I say if this one will work until I start walking around this fantasy land? It's hard to say. I do think it hinges on that, at least in my opinion.
Here's what's probably bothering me about this game and its development. They put Playgrounds on this, or Playground games. And that's the studio that makes Forza Horizon. So it's like, we're not getting a Forza Horizon for years. It's kind of what I got out of this announcement. So I was like, great.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's a bummer, because I think, honestly, Forza Horizons is like one of Xbox's best franchises right now. Like, sure. In my opinion.
Yeah, bar none. I mean, that's
Fable might be. We just don't know yet. And look, if the scale of what they're showing us actually translates to the final game, I will eat my hat and say this is a great game. But like, I need to play this thing. I need to quit hearing about it. Like, how long have they been telling us about this game? Like 5 years?
Yeah, longer maybe. Yeah,
longer. Like, enough. Like, just finish your game and let Playground make a new Forza Horizon. I'm sorry. I'm a racing game fan.
Maybe they'll, maybe they'll, show up for that too. Like this Playground might be the Insomniac for Xbox.
Yeah, where they can work on multiple things at once. Yeah, hopefully. And also, like, there's a bit of a formula to the Forza games now. So yeah, but it does feel like this means we're gonna get Motorsport first before we get, because we haven't heard anything out of Turn 10. So we'll probably get a new Motorsport here in the next year or so.
Yeah.
But they're not doing that every other year cadence anymore, which is probably smart. They were diluting their franchises doing that. There were like, Definitely. 10 Forza Motorsports and like 5 Horizons. So yeah.
There's at least 7 Motorsports, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember how many they got to. Anyway, another delay. Sonic Rumble got delayed. This was that party game that was going to be on, was it mobile? And yeah, it was like Sonic Fall Guys. That was going to come out on mobile first. 32 player lobbies in a mobile game. I don't know how that was going to work. Anyway, wow. It's delayed till spring, so we'll find out soon enough. Joe, this might be terrible news for you. Bloober Team is working on another Konami game.
Wait, why is that terrible news for me?
Because you don't like scary games.
Oh, okay.
And they crushed it with Silent Hill, the Silent Hill 2 remake.
I like the idea that anyone developing a scary game, I'm upset about it.
You're just like, nope, that's a waste of their time.
Stop.
Yeah. And then, we'll move on from there. And then, not surprising me, Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us has come to Beat Saber.
He did.
So now you can
finally did it.
You can go.
You know what would be funny
with lightsabers?
It would be funny if that's the one that Drake is really pissed off about. Like, that's the bridge too far.
Did you hear what happened to Drake?
Oh no! Am I making a bad joke? What happened?
No, nothing. I mean, for haters of Drake, it's great news, and I'd qualify myself as a hater of Drake.
Okay.
He has indefinitely postponed his Australia and New Zealand tour.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. Because
even though, based on last episode,
there was crowds.
Well, but Sam Taylor did not even seem to know.
Yeah,
what was going on. So I thought there was like. Maybe
I think our podcast combined with Sam Chandler being a guest on the podcast, I think we got the news out to Australia that Drake's a punk ass. And
okay, nice.
They're just not into it. Also, I think, I don't know, have you seen like there's these stories about Kendrick Lamar is showing up on it's like the Spotify of South Korea. I think it's called Melon or something. He's in the top 100 over there for Not Like Us and Luther. And now he's moving up the Japanese charts too. So I think Asia and maybe Oceania have finally discovered that Drake is a punk ass. But yeah, there's this video of like, you know how artists will try to do like get the audience interaction, like, hey, sing some of my lyrics with me. He like put his mic out to the crowd and like no one said anything.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You know who this sounds like? Yeah. J-Lo. This is J-Lo a year ago.
It's worse.
This is DJ
worse.
Khaled.
It is worse. This
is DJ Khaled at the Activision. Wasn't there like an esports event or something?
I do remember that.
Yeah, I think we all collectively wanted to forget that.
Do you remember? This is a little bit of a side, but like, do you remember Andrew WK at the Bethesda press conference?
Oh yeah,
that was so weird.
That's the year that they announced Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Oh, wow. 8 years ago, 7 years ago,
something like that.
Good God. Yeah. Anyway, sorry that came out in my mind. But yeah, Kendrick's Not Like Us Super Bowl performance. I'm seeing people recreate it in every language, every culture.
I saw it in Lego format.
Yeah, Lego.
On YouTube.
I'm seeing people wear like bell bottoms again.
Yeah, his pants.
Flares.
Yeah, people are infatuated with the style that he had at the Super Bowl. There's the backup dancers, they've all popped off and they're like doing interviews now and stuff. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Happy for everyone involved. That's really, really cool. But yeah, he's blowing up in South Korea and Japan now too. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Drake, like he's like, how do I get away from the Super Bowl? I know. I'll do a tour in Australia, and then like three events in, he's like,
surely they don't hate me here. Oh my God,
it's like
cancel the tour. Oh like, no,
koalas are throwing poop at him. Like no one, not even the wildlife like him.
It's that Simpsons meme. Like stop, he's already dead. You know what I mean?
He really is.
He really is. Yeah, this is crazy.
And everyone's like, oh, it can't get worse for him. It can.
Like, no, and Kendrick's he's not like letting up.
No.
And I think eventually he's going to try to murder Drake. Imagine. I mean, where does it go from here except murder, fellas?
I'm
sorry.
I don't think
I'm not condoning murder, obviously.
No.
I'm just saying.
But like, I think...
he's going to murder... Kendrick Lamar is going to murder Drake.
You pointed out a couple of things when we were talking about the beef last year, just off the show or whatever. Like, things really changed. There were two things that changed. When Drake called him short and when Drake called out his wife or his significant other.
You can't do that. Yeah, you can't. You can't mess with...
Those are
two things that I think... He crossed the men line, quote unquote, the male line of height. And you can never be tall enough. The guy who's 8 foot tall, he wants to be 8'2", you know. Joe, aren't you like close to 8 foot? Something like that.
Just over 8, yeah.
Yeah, just over 8 finally. The stretching has been working, actually.
The medieval torture, Kingdom Come Deliverance, torture chamber.
The rack. Yeah, that TikTok shop with the rack. But yeah, like... and then the wife thing. You can't.
Yeah, and then he went further and he suggested that Kendrick's best friend Dave Free, his manager, impregnated his wife with their first child. Yeah, and that's just that's like so out of pocket that like everything that Kendrick's done since then, I support. Because like, why would you even mess with this dude? Like,
no.
Like, he's like, you really want to see Compton? I think it's one of the lyrics in like Not Like Us. It's like, like you really like you, Mr. Rich half-white dude from Toronto who used to be on Degrassi, you're gonna go after this guy from Compton? Really? You think you're gonna win this battle? He still thinks he can win. You know, there's like a level of delusion to Drake and his fans. Anyway, I would love to play Not Like Us in Beat Saber, especially the wop 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 part, because that seems perfect for a lightsaber. But yeah, good on Beat Saber, man. Talk about that's the most successful VR game of all time, and it's still finding a way to add stuff all these years later. It's like,
that's great.
The game is Tetris-like, and I think how long it'll be around for. Yeah, we got a little bit more news here. Annapurna Interactive had a showcase for what's coming out soon from them. We got a demo for Wheel World, which is like a downhill bicycling game or like an outdoor bicycling game made by the Nidhogg developer. So this is interesting. Cool. This is very interesting. It's a single player game, but they say it's like a bicycle adventure with apocalyptic stakes. And we have some gameplay up on the YouTube channel if you guys want to check it out. It's coming out later this year on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S.
Beautiful.
We also got a launch trailer for Wanderstop, which I believe is coming out relatively soon. This is Ivy Road Studio. This was the team. It's like a new team formed from some of the devs of the Stanley Parable. It's coming out next month.
It's like unclear if there's a rug to be pulled on this game, right? Is that just me? It's like, are we seeing the whole picture? It just seems so normal. The game looks so normal.
You're right. Right now, you're right. It feels like there's something they're not telling us.
Right.
Because it does feel too normal, especially for that studio.
I strictly mean only because of that. I mean, it looks like a cozy, like that genre. And I don't think I would blink at it other than like, how do you go from the Stanley Parable to this? There's something under the hood.
How was the Stanley Parable? I know it was well received, but do you guys remember it well?
I played it last year, actually.
I just downloaded it. I'm wondering if it's like worth the time.
I do think it's maybe aged not its fault, but like time has moved on kind of thing a little bit. I played it last year for the first time and felt like, it was like a little bit of a time capsule, which in and of itself could be interesting if that sounds fun to you.
In the game itself, it kind of takes place in the past too. So it's like, I think the computers are like late 90s style. They've went on, those devs, especially William Pugh, he went on to work with
Kendrick Lamar.
No, that the guy who made Trover, Justin Roiland, they did some games together to varying degrees of success. I think he also made some VR games. But yeah.
And Stanley Parable, by the way, is like 2 hours long, so I think.
Oh, really? Oh, funny. I'll check it out.
Yeah, you're not gonna be like, oh, I wasted my time. We have a Shacker studio, Blendo Games. They've been working on Skin Deep for years, kind of out in the open. It's a single player, first person stink 'em up shooter. It looks like it's a combo of like first person platform puzzling and shooting, and I think there's really interesting weaponry in this, like shooting goo at things, and I don't know, this looks interesting. It's coming out on April 30th, and it has a Steam Next Fest demo up right now. I don't know how long the Steam Next Fest is going for.
It's usually like a week and a half, I think. I'm looking at
really. It ends March 3rd. So if you're listening to this weekend, when it came out, if like we're recording this on the 27th, you still have some days to try out these games we're mentioning on the Steam Next Fest. So that's, so far it was Monaco, Skin Deep, Wheel World, and, the game I played, REKT Party. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're getting this weird. This is the game, John. This is the game that really stuck out to me at this event. To a T, the Katamari Damacy creator has a new studio called Uvula, and this is that studio's first game.
Okay. And that's Annapurna?
It's
Published by?
Annapurna published, developed by Uvula, and that's the first game released by this new studio. It's basically a platform puzzler, but you're a character that's literally in the shape of a T.
Okay, all right. I gotta check that out.
T-posing.
Yeah, this just knowing the games that you like, John. I think you enjoy the Katamari games.
I do, yeah. I really like those.
Who doesn't, really?
I still download them and play them, man.
I think that didn't they make a game called Watum, which was just about holding hands with people and running around in circles?
Yes.
I don't remember the name, but there was
something in between Katamari and this where, yeah.
I think
anyway.
like Nobi Nobi Boy. Was that them?
Might have been
as well. Anyway.
Yeah. And then we got Lush Foil Photography Sim, which is like, what if we just made a game that was just photo mode? Like, I don't know. Interesting concept. The goal is to take high quality photos and perfect them with different camera settings. We'll see. Comes out in April. We got a lot of games coming out in April and May now. And I think it's because studios probably know when the Switch 2 is coming out, and they probably are trying to dodge GTA 6 this fall. So like you're in this window is like now to May, get your game out. Otherwise, Mario 3D is coming and GTA 6 is coming, and you're in trouble otherwise. Yeah, and the trailer, I want to mention the trailer for To a T features the Giraffe song by Rebecca Sugar, who is known from the Steven Universe soundtrack and Adventure Time.
Yeah, we're rewatching Steven actually, and
so you know her songs well then.
Yeah, delightful. She's awesome. Yeah, so I was like, I wonder what she's up to.
She did the song. The Giraffe song is the song used in this trailer. So yeah. And then last but not least, Sayonara of Wild Hearts, which is out already on a lot of platforms, is coming to PlayStation. It's out on PlayStation 5 now, so you can play it.
Yeah, I downloaded that as well. Was that on iOS?
It was. I believe it was an Apple Arcade game, and then it came to Switch. It's on PC, and it's just fun, man. That's just a fun, like, music-based, on-rails kind of racer. I don't know how to describe it, but it's cool. Anyway. Pretty good showing from Annapurna. They got good taste. Although there's all sorts of stuff going on internally at that company right now. The leadership and people underneath have left. You know, it's a video game company in 2025. On to Industrooza, which is Industry News Palooza, brought to you by Shaq News. NVIDIA reported earnings yesterday, you guys. This, like I said, we're recording on the 27th. They reported on the 26th. They grew revenue at 78% year over year, John. That seems like a lot for a company that's making $100 billion plus in sales in a year. You know what's wild about it? Gaming revenue for the year was $11.4 billion for the whole year. That's less than 10% of their revenue now.
Wow, that's insane.
Like 10 years ago, it was like 80% of their revenue. So that's wild. That shows you just how big AI has become for them.
Yeah.
They reported gross margin of 73%. That means for every dollar they make, 73 cents was profit.
That's just ridiculous.
Wildly profitable company. And then Jensen Huang, the CEO, went on to say that demand for Blackwell, which is their latest AI chip technology, is extraordinary. So this idea that DeepSeek was coming in and it was going to cut off all demand, they don't seem to be seeing that at NVIDIA right now. But then today, we got a release of ChatGPT 4.5, and everyone's like, it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread, sell everything. So,
wait, what was shown today?
GPT 4.5 shipped.
Oh, okay.
And it's just not, like, I think what's happening here, and I think this is inevitable in this field, but like, some of these large language models are not showing the incremental benefits that they were like 3 years ago from each version. Because like,
well, because I promise I was thinking about this earlier today. I was like, it's amazing, right? Like what we're seeing here, but it's no longer novel. So like we're taking it super for granted, some of this stuff. So it's just not as astonishing as it actually is. This is unbelievable. And it's the same as we saw with console graphics. Eventually you're kind of like, this is very pretty, and it continues to be very pretty. Next year, very pretty.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo 7. You know what I mean? So it was what I was saying last week. Like, very nice looking. I don't know how much nicer it looks from like a previous generation on PS4, for example. So I think it's a little bit of that, in my opinion.
I think we're moving away from general purpose AI, though, John. Like, I want, like, I was talking to someone about, like, here's an example of something I would use. Create an AI agent for me that transcribes my weather report video, so I don't have to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like, just make that agent. I just want that agent. I want an AI platform that I can tell to make that agent, or I can train, right? And I think we're going, it's like general knowledge and stealing Shack News articles. Everyone's done it. Perplexity's done it. OpenAI has done it. I'm sure DeepSeek has stolen our shit. Everyone's stealing everyone's shit. Good for them. But now it's like, what can you do with your knowledge base, Mr. AI, right? And that's where it's still going to require humans to be like, here, I want to build this with you. I want you to become this kind of agent for me. So we're seeing that. And I think that the holy shit moment that's coming, John, is in robotics. Because, like, these advancements in large language models, these advancements in computer vision and neural networks for computer vision combined in a robot could be groundbreaking. So it's like, I agree with you. We're like, people are taking what we're getting for granted, but at the same time, like, some of these companies are investing foolishly. And I really question what the hell's happening at Google, because haven't they been doing this longer than everyone? Like, how are they? Supposedly, yeah. How are they so far behind? Like, it's just. I think
Microsoft
weird.
just did such a prescient early investment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they got ahead of it. That was it, and whoever decided to get ahead of it that early, like.
But like, Google was doing this 20 years ago. Like, Google has owned DeepMind for over a decade. You know, like, they've been working on this stuff forever. Part of me thinks that there's some kind of AI at Google that is so advanced that they're afraid, and they're just not going to show it to us. Because they fired the guy remember the guy who said that the AI that he was working on at Google fell in love with him?
Oh, was that a reporter, or was that a Google employee?
No, it was an actual employee at Google. He got fired.
Yeah. Okay.
He got fired for saying that the AI fell in love with him. And then we haven't heard anything about that since.
Yeah.
So I wonder, because, like, Google search quality is getting worse by the week. And Gemini answers are pretty terrible. Copilot is somewhat better. I don't know. I don't really use any of them yet. And now we have Grok 3 out there too, right? Which I don't know if you saw the news, but Grok 3 is actually giving people instructions for how to make chemical weapons. So yeah.
Somebody's got to.
I saw a bunch of AI safety experts that were like adding Elon on the platform and just being like, please, dude, do something about this.
Wow.
And they won't.
Creepy.
But yeah, like, that's where we're at. Like, I think that, you know, NVIDIA had a very solid quarter. They beat all the expectations. They guided for this next quarter. They expect $43 billion in Q1. And Facebook and Microsoft and Amazon and Tesla, all of them say that they're still going to keep investing in this. So yeah, we're in an interesting crossroads for AI right now, because some people think that this whole bull market is over. I kind of think it's just getting started. And there's just going to be different winners. I go back to robotics. Whoever wins the robot race will probably be the one that is going to be a $10 trillion company someday. But yeah, NVIDIA had really solid numbers. But yeah, stock was down $10 today, sitting at 121, up from, it was, just for a frame of reference for people, it was at $49 in January of 2024. So it's still up over 100% in the last year. Pretty wild. Joe, you're finally going to enter the VR space. PSVR 2, price cut.
You know me, I've been waiting for a price cut.
Yeah, it's coming. Also, I heard a rumor that
$20.
I also heard a rumor that Valve's standalone VR headset's going to ship this year. So, yeah,
I am interested in a Beat Saber type of experience, honestly. But you know, I still hang on to that fear of throwing up most of all.
I would have loved Beat Saber in the Vision Pro. That would have been cool.
Yep.
Maybe someday, because, you know, Facebook, Beat Saber's on PlayStation, right? So like they could do it if they really wanted to. Maybe it's just not worth it. And then, let's end on the wettest of wet farts. This WB game shit, guys. What the fuck? Why would you just shut down Monolith Productions, John? Is there no one out there who would buy Monolith?
I mean, it's a focus thing, I think. I think that, if they were going to be successful, right? Huh?
Like, it's like, what do you get? Like, everyone wants to buy a studio that has an IP attached to it too.
Okay, fine. There's no IP, but the thing that I know they own is that Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor. That's a patent.
That's a patent, and I don't think they're selling that.
I would have bought Monolith just for that.
But I think Warner Brothers is keeping that. I'm sure.
For what? They're gonna put it in their Lego game?
No, it's like, why does AOL own like all their domains for 100 years? Just, it's no skin off their, like, they're not. It's not a profit driver. No, it's sad. I mean, it's that, and then I think eventually we should like talk about, and I can't speak on it in an informed way, but AI in gaming development, it is here. I mean, I was at DICE, I was at CES before that, but DICE Summit, we're going to be at GDC, where like this is already coming up a lot. It is absolutely here. The stuff that we're seeing from big companies is really, really significant, and it's scaring everybody shitless. And I don't know what to think about it. Like, it's just, this is crazy. So I think Warner is just trying to maybe get ahead of, it's been bad times for game studios. I think it's going to continue, unfortunately.
They've had success in the last few years, though. They had Hogwarts Legacy. It sold like over 20 million units. It's not like
that was not Latchkey. What was the name of the thing? I forget the name of this. The darn thing.
Let's see if I can Google that shit.
Avalanche.
Portkey,
yeah.
Portkey games.
And I think that's why, right? Like, they didn't sell that.
And honestly, like, maybe they're gonna take the Disney route, right? Where Disney shut down what was it, Infinity, and they like shut down all their internal studios. Now they become the largest licensor of their IP. So like, and they've succeeded, right? So maybe that's the future. But but it's money, but you're also not taking that capital risk that you have to build a game, right? The thing that I just don't get is, like, we had Gail Simone working on a Wonder Woman game, and they were like, that's not going to sell. You're not going to... Monolith making a Wonder Woman game wasn't going to sell? Like, seriously? We really think that? Like, I think they're dead wrong.
It's disappointing, man. Like,
I think that they're tasteless. Nice. The people who run Warner don't know shit about entertainment. They suck at it. Because the people who are running Warner now come from Discovery, not from...
You think of Zaslav? What's his name? Zaslav?
Yeah, David Zaslav. The guy I've wanted to fist fight basically since the first episode of this podcast.
Oh, yeah, he's on the list.
Yeah, he's on my whole CEO 7-Eleven boxing match circuit, whatever the hell we were going to do. But yeah, like, I can't look at this in a vacuum, John. Like, he canceled Batgirl too. Right? He canceled Coyote versus Acme, which by all accounts,
by the way,
it would have been hilarious.
It would have been awesome. Batgirl didn't look great, but I mean, that said, it's a complete.
It was
film.
Done.
Okay.
It was in the can. What are you doing? Like, you're gonna make more than $0 if you ship it.
Yeah, I know.
That's the same with this. Like, I understand Multiverse is shutting down and Player First going away. I get that. That game failed. But, like, I think Monolith's probably the best studio they had. And to not even, like, give them this, like, here's your last shot. Like, no, cancel it. And now Mortal Kombat. Like, how did NetherRealm survive this?
Oh, no, because I think Mortal Kombat is a pretty successful game.
It's horrible right now. Like, the actual game's not good. Mortal Kombat 1, it's in a bad...
It probably made a ton of cash, though.
I'm not saying it was great. I'm saying it sells like crazy. And also those DLC packs, those must make a ton of money for those people.
And the CEO or the head of WB Games said they were more focused on live service going forward.
Yikes.
So who knows what the hell that means for Mortal Kombat, right?
I mean, even look at live service with Marvel Rivals. Like, I mean, it's not even...
So, I don't know. I'm just... It's just frustrating.
Disappointed, man. Yeah, you're disappointed.
I like Monolith, man. They've made some really great games over the years. Even recently, though. Like, I think that Shadow of War, but Shadow of Mordor especially, because that was, I think, the first one. It was like a holy shit moment.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun. And
the way that Nemesis system worked, I was like, that is cool. And then I hated that they patented it, because I'm like, everyone should have stolen that idea. That was back in 2017. That was when Shadow of War shipped. 2014, my first year here at Shack News, was the year that Shadow of Mordor shipped. And yeah, they're both great. They're closing Player First Games, closed. Yeah, these guys made Blood. They made Shogo, Mobile Armor Division. They made the Condemned games on Xbox 360.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They made The Matrix Online. They made Fear. Yeah. Gotham City Imposters, Fear 2. Not everything was great, but they made some good stuff, man. And I don't know. I feel bad. It feels like this shit's ramping again. And yeah, to your point about AI, like, I think it's about finding, there's going to be things that AI can do well, and it'll be incumbent on people who have jobs to use AI to keep their jobs. And then there's going to be some things where AI is not as good as humans at. And I think that there's still going to be a place for humans. The question I have about all this, because you're talking about the industry broadly there, John, like, what the hell is Nintendo going to do? I don't think
they're going to make a ton of cash as a toy company and a games
but
company.
Like, they're not thinking about this at all.
What?
They're just like they're not sitting here like, should we make our next Mario game with a generative AI bot? Like,
no. No, that's fair enough. But I think I wouldn't say that they're not thinking about it. I think every business is thinking about it. I'm very much. This isn't a risky take. This is another industrial revolution. We're in the middle of it. It's who's going to be in the horse and carriage business in the next year or two. And there are going to be millions of people, unfortunately, sadly, that in their 20s, in their 30s, in their whatever job they have right now is going to be the last job they ever have. And I'm not happy about it. Like, nobody's happy about it, but nobody thinks about that. So yeah, man, is Nintendo thinking about it? Nintendo's a super smart company. Of course they're thinking about it. Do we think that Miyamoto will, or Mario will become like an AI platform? No. But this is the same company that made Electroplankton and the Nintendo DS and cool, experimental stuff. I'd love to see what a Nintendo comes up with. I think it could be really interesting.
I think there is AI that is already being used in gaming, in our cards, in our hardware acceleration, the DLSS, the super sampling stuff that they're doing.
Yeah,
that's all AI. And the rumor is that Switch 2 is going to use that heavily. So I think when it comes to 4K quality games, maybe they're using AI to super sample.
I think that's kind of it, and I think you're going to start seeing. Well, let's see. I'm much more interested in how Rockstar, given their lengthy dev cycle, how Rockstar incorporated it, because I don't think they could have, right? And I think it's an 8-year dev cycle for
Strauss Zelnick had a quote. We cover their conference calls pretty closely, and someone asked him kind of a question similar to that, John, and he said. He said artificial intelligence is going to be transformative and all these things. But he's like, one thing I don't think it's going to replace is creative genius. And
I think he's also is having to say that because of GTA 6. I think AI just did not exist when there was the roadmap happening for GTA 6. So I think that's, given that GTA 6 is likely a 15-year cycle or something, who knows?
10 at least, yeah.
10 years minimum. I'm very curious to see how they're going to retrofit it, because they're going to retrofit it.
You're not on Twitter anymore, right? Like you guys don't look at Twitter
so much, though.
I'm there.
They got too much.
I'm there, and what I saw Tim Sweeney tweet it, and I saw Elon tweet it. But there's people are using Grok 3 to make games. I don't know what language it's doing, but they're compiling games out. Someone's like, "Hey, look, I made Space Invaders." Someone's like, "Hey, look, I made Asteroids." Someone's like, "Hey, look, I made Grand Theft Auto." It looks like complete dog shit. It's like a top-down map that looks like fucking Minesweeper with a really shitty car on it. And I'm like, come on, guys, we're not making GTA with this shit.
Not yet. No. But I will say, I remember River Raid on Atari 800. And I remember everybody remembers Asteroids and all that. And then you think about No Man's Sky. And you think about like the 20-year, I don't know, 30-year maybe, whatever. But that difference, that leap. And if you see some of the stuff where people are using Gen AI to essentially replace textures, right? There's that Subnautica 2 example. I don't know if you saw that. But like using Gen AI to like replace the marine life polygons or whatever with whatever. I don't know if you call it rendering or whatever you're calling it really with AI. It's kind of astonishing. I think it's the Will Smith eating spaghetti meme from 2 years ago where it was bonkers, and now it actually seems like a little bit more. So I think we're going to see in a couple years what's going to happen here. And look, Elon, I get it. Elon, what an asshole. He's launched a game studio. And I think it is the games that are coming out, to your point, they look like crap. I don't know where it's going to be in a year or 2 years. Nobody knows. Except it's going to be better. I think Marquez Brown Lee, right? MK, what is it? MKBHD?
MKBHD, yeah.
Yeah, so Marquez, he says when he talks about this stuff, remember, this is the worst it is ever going to be. Whatever we see now, Sora AI and Dolly and whatever, as we're going through the couple years, today, right now, whatever you see is the very worst it'll ever be again. And I think that's the it's scary, man. It's scary. It's exciting, but it's scary. It's exciting because you can't help but be, it's wondrous to see the flying cars now, like maybe launching in the streets, but this is going to really be very hurtful.
The thing that scares me, and I'm on Instagram pretty frequently now because Twitter is a hellhole, so it's made Instagram look better by comparison, even though Instagram makes young women want to kill themselves. Studies have shown. There are fake people being created for Instagram now, John. Like fake influencers.
Oh, I've seen like stories about that.
AI. And then
it's
on
insane.
the YouTube Shorts, on the TikTok and YouTube Shorts side, there are channels that are literally just AI content farms now. And it's like they're being rewarded for this really low effort, shitty content that's just, they're stealing other people's content. They're putting you'll know the voice when you hear it, right? It's like the one lady's voice or that one guy's voice that you hear in all those videos. That's AI. It's my fear is that before things get better, like you're saying, because I agree with you, it's all iterative. Before things get better, people are going to use existing tools to carry out really horrible shit. Be it revenge porn or fake news or fake terrorist attacks.
Well, they're doing it now. I mean, to your point, you're saying it like, they're doing it.
I'm saying
now.
It's like, it's out there.
It's currently happening. Yeah.
It's just, there's no regulation. There's no rules. So it's just the Wild West right now. And a lot of people are being scammed. A lot of people are going to, like you said, they're going to be hurt by this. And it's not even, I'm not like, oh, think about the human AI or think about the human Instagram models. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying more like, think about the effects on the users who now accept AI content as real.
Yeah, but that's been Facebook for the last,
I know.
5 years.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Especially,
look what happened over the last 5 years, man. Like, we got another 4 years of this guy because of it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, look, this is, there's nothing to do except what, for example, my wife and I did when they're trying to ban a few authors here from showing up. It's a local issue, but what happened was the town essentially showed up in force en masse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And news crews then show up, and the only thing that's going to stop this is when people start talking, assembling.
Civil unrest.
Too many. I don't have civil unrest, but civil. It could be discourse. It wasn't unrest, right? It was like just dialogue if you can. But I think it's just like showing up in numbers. That's the only thing that'll scare the shit out of any of these people. We are actively looking to trade in our 2 Teslas. This isn't a fucking. This isn't me virtue signaling or anything like that. It's just like, what else can you do? We're not billionaires. Like, what else can you do? So you have to vote en masse with your voice, with your wallet, with whatever. And let's see where it goes, man. I'm nervous. I'm not pessimistic. I actually think that it goes back to what in Michael Moore's movie Capitalism, A Love Story, right? He was saying they uncovered this thing from Goldman Sachs that said the three biggest worries for the economy is something like number one was a chemical attack, number two was like a terrorist attack. I don't know. But number three was the people start to assemble, right? Goldman Sachs figuring out what the 20-year potential worry is in the world. And it's the people start to figure it out, right? That was 12 years ago.
I don't mean to sound too dystopian, but I think that you're right that is the biggest risk, and Goldman Sachs is right or whatever. They're always right.
Yeah.
But we live in we live in a police state, and it's just going to get worse. And I don't know how the people can rise up in a police state.
Because I don't think it's a police state. My mom was in Ecuador when it became a police state, and like literally troops in the streets or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen here. Obviously, a lot can happen, but like I think there is a difference between worry about valid worry about living in a police state and actually living in a police state. And I think it's just we're not there yet. And I think that's why it's important for people to really go out there and really talk about this stuff. But anyway,
here's a story that came out today. That's the only reason I brought it up, and then we can wrap this up.
Yeah. Because like
Donald Trump signed into an executive order to delete 75% of the police misconduct database.
Yeah.
So like,
I get it. I mean, what a prick is going to prick. I totally get it.
But that's how you curry favor with an entire police regime. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's just one data point. But that's my only concern is that we had moments of protest in 2020. We had moments of protest in 2017. But like ultimately, those protests aren't going on right now, right? And those problems still exist. So it's like people get beaten down either by being thrown in jail or by being hurt or by being gassed or just by being afraid of those things. Yeah. And I don't know how people will respond because, like, to your point, if this is your last job and it's like you don't want to lose your job, but
eventually people are going to make the difference. There was a town hall in Albany a couple of days ago where a current teacher stood up talking to their congressman and saying, make them outlaw you. That was the quote. Make them outlaw you. They should have arrested you, and I will be arrested with you. You know what I mean? And I think that's coming from a teacher in Albany, New York, which isn't like super blue up there. I mean, it's blue enough, but dude, we're a small town. And I saw a packed auditorium because they're trying to screw with 3 authors here. This is February. This is you see the marches in 10-degree weather. So I'm not saying it's there. It's not there, but there is that kindling here. And I think what makes people worried, I'm talking about politicians and billionaires and whatever, it's the one thing you have. It's numbers. It's the one thing you get to lord over them. You have millions of people. I get it, man. But I can't be pessimistic. You can't be too.
Here's my suggestion. Because I think that protests are going to lead to police violence, and that'll scare people. I think that there should be a nationwide strike. Everyone, we should all stop working, or we should all stop paying taxes at once. Because that's how you cripple the economy. You want to cripple the U.S. economy? I think the economy
is being crippled soon enough. I think you'll see how everybody stop paying taxes because hopefully the IRS is abolished by then. It's not going to happen, but it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Because let's see what happens. You see my point, though, right? Because
yeah, of course, man.
If what you're talking about does happen, that unemployment shoots through the roof in the next 10 years, by definition, we'll have less tax revenue. So it's like, I've said this for a real long time. I feel like all these AI tech bros are going to self-own capitalism into socialism because the only way to prevent them from being eaten alive by the masses is going to pivot. It's going to be pivoting to socialism. Because, like, if robots took over,
universal basic income.
Robots take over all of our jobs. Yeah. So it's like,
dude, that's happening.
I don't know, man. But like the governor of Maine, she suggested that she would not send any tax revenue to the government if they withhold their funds. So like I'm seeing states arguing with the president.
But that's what it is. That's the thing. Like that has to give you a little bit of hope here. The governor of Maine. and it sounds silly, but like think about it.
It doesn't. It makes me worried. It just makes me more worried and scared. And I'm lucky, man.
Gotcha, man.
I'm lucky. I have money. I'm lucky. So I'm worried about other people more than myself. I'm worried about people who look like me, but that's a whole other thing. But like I'm worried about our industry. I'm worried about the industry that we cover, right? I'm worried about media, but I'm also worried about games. But I'm also worried about just the state I live in, the city I live in. And so many people were fooled, and it's like there's no take backsies. It's like we're stuck with this for at least 2 years, at least. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if it can be like, hopefully things change.
Well,
anyway,
see, and that's where this podcast, which is a food podcast and a gaming podcast,
Joe's
is now
gonna cut all this out.
Please, Joe. Just read double up on the Kendrick Lamar stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just loop that.
So that'll do it for today's show. We did not solve the global economy, but give us another week, maybe another few NVIDIA quarters, And like the thing, just real quick about AI development, like it's not like NVIDIA is going to stop developing chips today. Like they're going to figure out a better mousetrap for people to chase the H300 next year or something. So, this is a cyclical business. We'll see what happens. Although AMD hit a 52-week low today. Just want to throw that out there. They're about to announce the pricing of their GPUs tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. We do have one community note. We've got a few questions and comments from the Shack News community, which you can join by heading over to shacknews.com/chatty or by emailing us at I don't know. We'll do my name. Asif.con@shacknews.com. Congratulations if you can spell my name. Haas Mahmoud Corner, he said, I'm guessing this is your at, Joe? Is that your
That's
at?
me. Oh, yeah, that's me.
Okay. I'm not going to read that. I don't want people chasing you on YouTube. Awesome job timestamping.
We did it.
Kinda. You did it in the description, then you did it again.
Well, the description was wrong, and I didn't know how to edit it.
Anyway, it worked. I liked it. I don't use the timestamps because I just like to listen to the whole episode. But if people want to jump to us just litigating Joe's Capcom fandom, now you have a timestamp for it. So that's going to do it for today's show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Bill for joining us to talk about Monster Hunter. Are you guys getting Monster Hunter? No, probably no.
Massive no.
Not super interested.
I'm getting it. I'm probably buying it tonight.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to playing it. But yeah, that'll do it for the show. Subscribe on your podcast app of choice. Tune in every Friday for more Shack Together. And yeah, if you made it this far into the podcast, sorry it was a long one, but we had a pretty sweet game in there and we had to talk about Monster Hunter. But yeah, that'll do it. Give us a 5-star rating or like a whatever review, right? Reviews
are helpful. Yep.
Sharing us helps us. Liking videos helps us. Subscribing to channels helps us. All those things. So do all those things. We appreciate it. And now we wave at the camera that's not on. We say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Bye. Whoa.
Yeah.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack News is a multimedia company consisting of a variety of entertainment properties, including ShackNews.com, video game and cutting-edge technology coverage with evergreen video, guide, and long-read content, providing readers and viewers with the latest reviews, previews, interviews, and news. Shack News content is readable and viewable at shacknews.com, Facebook, YouTube at Shack News Interviews, and Shack News VODs, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Shack News Media, Twitch, and more. But that's not all. You can play Bubbletron, our first video game. Combine 3 ideas, hit the market, and get your money hat. Bubbletron is a daily game in the style of Wordle, where players can launch a company and see its valuation instantly. Hit that high score and brag to your friends. Visit bubbletron.com to play. There is no download required, no signups required, but if you are into app downloads, we have the cutest one on the planet. It's called Shack Pets, the ultimate battle for cuteness. Swipe your pets to victory on iOS and Android in this Tinder-like app for pets. Shack News is proud to present a variety of micro products, all available for free at shacknews.com. Cortex is a publishing platform available to all of our users. Shouts is a Twitter replacement in a time where Twitter really needs replacing. And Reader, an RSS reader that won't get shut down by Google anytime soon. You can import YouTube, subreddits, all sorts of cool stuff, even podcast feeds. And lastly, all of our products are completely free to use and play, so if you're a fan of what we're doing and want to support the Shack News ecosystem, head over to shacknews.com/Mercury. Mercury offers subscribers access to exclusive Shack News swag like hoodies and VIP access to our long reads in downloadable format. It's a great way to support us. There's different tiers, and you get a lightning bolt next to your name.